Hey friends, welcome back to Queer Gravel. Today I want to talk to you about how I make these videos. I'm a pretty big nerd when it comes to anything involving any sort of gear. I was a huge nerd when I was playing music and got into all the music gear. And I'm obviously a huge nerd when it comes to bikes and all the bike gear. And I'm definitely a camera, photo, video nerd as well. So we're gonna dive into the things that I use to make these videos.
I don't know, I think your setup's more pro than mine though.
I mean,
they can't see it.
First up are my two main cameras. I use these to shoot everything from POV riding on my bike all the way to full vlog videos have been done completely with these cameras, and that is the GoPro Hero 11 and the GoPro Hero 11 Mini. Both of these cameras are absolutely incredible. They're powerhouses and they work incredibly well. I know a lot of folks lately have been switching over to the DJI Osmo Action and the Insta360, but I have to tell you, I have loved using GoPros and I'm not likely to switch anytime soon. GoPro's not paying me to say any of these things, although if they wanted to pay me, they certainly could because I love their products and I use them all the time. I like the Mini because of its small form factor and the fact that there's nothing on this that can break that can't be very easily replaced. With the GoPro Hero 11, the screens on the front and the back can break. That's just kind of an occupational hazard when it comes to making gravel cycling videos. You will drop the camera, things will break. So I've almost entirely switched over to the Mini for my POV shots and all the shots of me actually on the bike. I will tend to still like the regular GoPro Hero 11 when I'm doing like vlogging and that sort of thing because the screens are so helpful. But when I'm riding my bike, which is most of my videos at this point, the Mini is the way to go. I don't use a fixed mount when I do anything on my bike with these cameras. I'm actually using this, the Pro Standard grill mount. It is both a handle for the GoPro as well as a mouth mount. And yes, I get a lot of crap anytime I use it. People are always wondering what this is, but this is by far my most used filmmaking tool.
Woo! Climbing all those hills with a camera in your mouth.
You can mold this to your bite, so it's actually very easy to hold in your mouth for extended periods of time. And I also love this because not only am I getting a great POV, the camera's gonna be able to move wherever I'm turning my head. So if I see something really cool and interesting, it's very easy to catch that, where if it were on a chesty mount or some other kind of fixed mount, I would have no way of catching what's happening in other directions. Pro Standard grill mount, I'm not paid by these guys. Again, I wish that I were. I would happily get paid by them because I love this product so much. The other thing from Pro Standard that I use all the time is their 360 Quick Connect system. So this is a super easy way that is super secure to switch GoPro mounts very quickly. A couple of these smaller pieces that mount anywhere that you would mount a GoPro, and then these receivers that you can mount on any of your cameras. I love using these, they're super fast. Not only are they fast and easy to use, they're incredibly secure, and on top of that, they can turn 360 degrees, meaning even if I'm using a fixed mount on somewhere on my bike or on my shoulder strap on my backpack, I can very easily adjust which direction the camera is facing in order to get the best shot. Check them out, links in the description below. So with those two cameras, I have covered essentially 80% of everything I'm doing on this channel. The farther back you go on the channel, the heavier these were used, to the point that the first few videos were 100% GoPro. I started to get a little bit bored with the way things looked, and so I wanted to spice things up. One of the first ways that I got into making cycling videos for Instagram was with a 360 camera. Now, I've had all sorts of 360 cameras. I've had this GoPro Max for a while now. I've also used the Insta360 One X2 pretty extensively. And again, it's really hard to beat the ease of the GoPro. I really like the Insta360 One X2, and now there's a One X3 available. I really like their form factor. I like that they're a little bit longer and skinnier, but I found that I was really struggling with the interface on their app to get the things that I wanted it to do. It just got to be really cumbersome. And the nice thing about the GoPro Max is that everything drops into the GoPro Quik app, which I'm already using for my other GoPro cameras. And I found it really easy to reframe things and export things the way that I wanted. And it's actually even easier to do that on my laptop with the GoPro app. And so I just have stuck with it for ease of use in that case. But a 360 camera, regardless of which camera you use, is super, super fun and interesting. It's a great way to get all sorts of creative shots that you could never get with a standard camera. The Max, just like all the Insta360 cameras, will erase the selfie stick or whatever mount you have it mounted on. I will say though, for cycling, if you want it to be a fixed mount, which a 360 camera is probably the only place I would use a fixed mount regularly, because you have so much flexibility in where the camera can point. I will say if you're going to use a fixed mount with a 360 camera, the farther away you can get it from you, the better it looks. So if the camera is really, really close, that means that the stitch line is going to be really, really evident. So I have a whole system for rigging 360 cameras up to my bike to make it look cool and usable. I use it occasionally. I also use this on a pretty long selfie stick that I can collapse. And I'll show you both of those in just a little bit when we dive into the accessories. But this was one of the first tools I used for making content on Instagram and YouTube. And while I don't use it as much anymore, I still love diving into it every now and again for a fun and interesting perspective. Before I dive into more camera gear, don't forget to like this video, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when more awesome bike and sometimes camera related content is coming your way. Now, when it comes to fun and interesting perspectives, the next toy that I got was this little guy. This is the DJI Mini 3 Pro, and this is an absolute blast. Now, I don't get paid for anything on my YouTube channel, and I don't get paid for anything on Instagram or anything like that. Nothing's monetized, blah, blah, blah. So I can still fly this drone without a license, although that's gonna be changing here soon, and so I am getting my drone license. I'm in the process of studying and all that sort of stuff. So that'll be soon. I'm really excited about that, to have a little bit more flexibility about what I can do with this little guy. But it's also absolutely tiny. Look at this thing. It's just whoop, super small, easy to drop in a bag, and still really versatile. It does a lot, and it's under that 250 gram weight limit, so I don't have to have it registered and all those other things, which means it's a lot easier to get into with. It has obstacle avoidance and all the good stuff that I need as a beginner drone pilot, and I got the version with the DJI RC controller with the built-in screen. I love this drone and the controller for a lot of reasons. It's very easy to use. It also has some automatic flying patterns. It has auto track, so I can actually be riding my bike and flying the drone at the same time, and this little guy follows me on my bike flawlessly. And if it loses me for any reason, it does alert me so I can stop and allow the drone to come back to me and land safely. It's a really incredible tool for getting fun and interesting shots, and I've just found I really enjoy the flying process. It's something that's really fun for me, and it gets some really cool footage. So these are things that I slowly started adding into my arsenal when it came to making these bike videos. And then there is the camera that I use to shoot these inside things, and I've started using more and more in my vlog videos, and that is the Canon R8. I got this camera back in April when it was released, and I absolutely love it. Before I had the R8, I was using the Canon R, and before that the RP, so I've slowly been upgrading. So the R8 is what I'm using both when I'm vlogging and when I'm doing these talking head videos. I use the Canon RF 15 to 34.5 for the vlogging when I'm out and about. It's a great zoom range that's run and gun. It's not a particularly fast lens. It's also not a particularly expensive lens. I'm not often shooting with the R8 when I'm actually riding, for the obvious reasons that it's kind of heavy and bulky, especially compared to something like the GoPro. But it is something that I do occasionally, and I will carry the R8 with me when I want to take photos, and I'll most likely be using a 35mm prime lens. It's a little bit smaller and more compact. And when I do that, I use the PS Bagworks Rider strap. It is the best strap for carrying a camera while you're on your bike because it has a really easy to use stabilizer strap. I highly recommend this strap if you want to be riding and taking photos while you're riding. It's a great way to keep your camera close to you and really accessible. And if your camera's accessible, it means you're more likely to take photos and videos. Now that covers almost all of the video stuff, and there's a few pieces of audio equipment that I use for these videos that I wanted to share as well. The first being the DJI wireless mic system. I'm actually using it right now. If you don't see a mic in frame in these talking head videos, it means I'm likely using one of these teeny tiny wireless microphones. These are incredible, and the thing that got me super stoked on the DJI ones over the Rode ones is that these also have built-in recording. So not only is this a wireless microphone that then sends information to this little receiver that can go on top of the camera, they are also built-in recorders. So I can just press record and not worry if I'm out of range of the camera or the receiver. And I know that I have all the best audio happening right here without having to worry about it. The next piece of audio gear that I use is the Rode VideoMic NTG. I love this on-camera microphone. It's got auto on and off, which is a huge bonus for run and gun sort of stuff. So all I have to do is plug this into the camera, and then whenever I'm ready to record, it's turning on automatically, and it's so easy. The audio is really incredible. I love it. It's got different settings and high and low pass filters, which are super helpful. This will sit on top of the R8 while I'm out vlogging and doing that sort of thing. It sounds great. It's incredibly versatile, and it's pretty lightweight for what it is. And so I love this thing.
Your microphone's bigger. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
So let's dive into the other accessories that I use. I've already talked about the Pro Standard grill mount and the Pro Standard 360 Quick Connect system. I use those all the time, but there are a couple other things that I use with the GoPros and with my other cameras that I feel like deserve a mention in the video. The first of which being the GoPro Volta. Now this is a grip, it is a battery, it is a tripod, it's a Bluetooth remote, and can even be mounted with these little feet, boop, that pop out to anywhere you would normally mount a GoPro. One of my most recent videos when we went to Montana was shot almost entirely on the GoPro, and this thing is just so handy. And the real clutch piece is having essentially 3 GoPro batteries worth of juice in just the handle. Not only can I charge the GoPro, but I can also charge any of the other devices that we might have with us that die, whether it's a kid's cell phone or my phone or other cameras or anything like that. I really can't recommend this enough. This is the Joby Sport Pod, I believe is what it's called. It's essentially a selfie stick that extends, and it extends in a way that's super easy to use when you're on the bike. So all you have to do is twist and lengthen and twist back. It's super fast, super easy. And as you can see, this is a pretty long GoPro selfie stick. It's got the standard GoPro feet on there. And the last 2 accessories that I use quite frequently when I'm doing vlog sort of stuff both relate to the R8. And that is the Peak Design Quick Capture Clip, which I have on my backpack, which means I can very easily place the camera on my shoulder strap and it's not going anywhere. And that brings me to the tripod I use most often, and that is the Joby GorillaPod. I believe this is the 1K version. It might be the 5K. I don't remember. The 5K is just bigger. It's kind of a staple for vloggers. I know a lot of people complain about it, and I've gone through a couple at this point, but even though they don't last quite as long as I would like them to, I haven't found a better alternative yet, although I'm keeping my eyes peeled. So that wraps up all of the different things that I use on a regular basis for my videos. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so that you're notified, and like this video if you feel like it was helpful to you, if you learned anything. Let me know if you're making bike videos or if you want to make bike videos. I'd love to see what you're doing and swap ideas and that sort of stuff. So be sure to check that down below. Links are in the description below for everything that I talked about, and I will see y'all in the next one.